You guys, I really need to stop getting so sentimental in my videos because I literally wanted to share two stories. So this is going to be part two of my already long sex life video. So there was another boy. There's another boy that I'm kind of talking to, and he's really sweet and I really get along with him. But okay, so how I met the boy, we're going to call him, what are we going to call him? We're going to call him Francois. So I met Francois I want to say 4 years ago. I met him on the trans dating app, and he was living in Cape Town and I was living in Cape Town. So, we messaged each other and we were like, hey, what are you looking for? Do you ever want to meet up? Do you want to go on a date? And I would say when I met Francois, I was still, girl, I was bitter, but I was still interested. I was still interested in having relationships. I was still interested in being wifed up. My heart was a little bit broken, but it wasn't shattered yet. There was still the Christabel that believes in things. She still was in the picture. Wow, that bitch is long gone. But I digress. So, me and Francois, we decided we were going to have a date. Now, y'all need to understand, this is before my hormones and bilateral orchiectomy. So, my anxiety levels or my dysphoria was at an all-time high. I was the girl who had to just cake up the makeup. If I was going to go out, there were certain things I couldn't wear, and I was very self-conscious about my body. So I'm going to go on this date with this boy, and I want to make sure that I look good. Like, I want to look like a snack. So I wore these, I think I was wearing these boots, and I was just looking like a snack. He comes up. So Francois is super, super tall. Like, I had heels, and bro, I felt so petite next to him. So he was wearing his buttoned up shirt. He had his blazer on, and he looked so, so beautiful. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, this is cute. Watch this date go south. We are struggling to find parking, and we eventually find parking. We get into the restaurant. So, we're sitting in the restaurant, and our waiter comes to take our orders. Now, our waiter was this Black South African guy, and a lot of Black South African guys have a lot of either homophobia or transphobia. Either way, they're not for the LGBT in any way. So I remember him looking at me, but I didn't think there was anything weird about it, because I'm like, he's taking our orders. He's talking to us. He's supposed to be looking he's supposed to be looking at me. Bitch, tell me why this dude says when Francois orders his cocktail, he looks at Francois and he sort of giggles and he's like, you really want that cocktail? He literally paused between cock and tail, and as he paused, he looks at me. And I'm just like, I know I'm imagining this. No waiter in their right mind would be that disrespectful. So Francois's like, yes, I do want that cocktail. So, he goes and he's getting us drinks. Now, I wasn't going to say anything because I'm feeling like, when you've been gaslit so many times that every time someone is transphobic to you, you question if it really happened. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, oh, Christabel, you like to make these things up in your head. Francois then turns to me and he's all like, I can't believe the fucking audacity of that guy for him to even say that. And when he acknowledged it, that's when it sort of became real for me that, oh my God, like, what just happened? So he comes back, and I'm the type of person, like, I know how to stand up for myself. If you think you're gonna clown me, you've got the wrong bitch. So I'm like, excuse me, is it possible for us to get another waiter? So then he looks at me shocked, and I don't even understand why he's shocked, but he looks at me and he's like, oh, is there something wrong with me? Or, and I'm like, yes, you are the problem. There's something wrong with you. We want another waiter. So he starts feeling some type of way. He leaves, and I'm just sitting there like, and that they better bring another waiter, or I'm about to go to the manager. I'm about to do my Karen. Like, I was 2 steps away from doing my whole Karen routine. Now, Francois is all like, ugh, this is, I still have not forgiven him for this. I still have not forgiven him for this. And I know we talk, and I know that we're friends, but he was all like, oh, let's just call the waiter back. I want to eat. And I'm like, oh, this boy calls the waiter back. We order. I'm incredibly rude to this waiter. Like, I'm just kind of like very short with him. I'm very like, and I'm feeling some type of way against my date, because I'm just like, do you understand that this person was hella transphobic to me? Do you understand that he's acting some type of way? And I have massive dysphoria. And by you still wanting him as our waiter, you are essentially co-signing his behavior. You know what I mean? So, then our bill comes. Girl, Francois then gives this guy a tip. Now, I know in America you have to tip. In South Africa, it's completely optional. You only tip if you've had great service. Francois tips this dude. And I'm just sitting there like, this dude. Now, obviously, because of what happened, I wasn't in a good mood during the date, and I think he felt kind of awkward. So our conversation was kind of off. And when he was dropping me off in Long Street, he was like, I don't know if I was the one who asked if he wanted to see me again, but he was like, no, I think we're better off as friends, and this, that, and the other. And I interpreted that as him not wanting to be seen with me because I'm clocky. So, and I remember I took that so hard that the reason, like, you blame yourself for these things. The reason the waiter was so rude to me was because I was clocky. The reason this guy doesn't want to date me is because I'm clocky. So all of these bad things that are so trauma inducing are because of me. So I took it heavy, and I remember I just went to the bar with my friends. I may have cried. A couple of tears may have fallen down my face, but we moved past it, bitch. So I kind of had this thing, like, you guys don't understand. When I started passing, when I reached the feminine threshold, I had a point to prove. I had a point to prove. I'm not out here trying to sound arrogant, but when I reached the feminine threshold, I realized that I was pretty. And the thing is, when you're a girl in your 20s, you don't even have to be pretty to be pretty. Just by being thin and being reasonably average or attractive looking, that makes you pretty. And I had a booty on top of it. Bitch, hold my purse. Hold my weave. So I had a point to prove. At work, I had a point to prove. At clubs, I had a point to prove. But most importantly, I had a point to prove with Francois. So we were still communicating, and obviously he saw my transformation. So let's fast forward to 3 years later. My ass that doesn't let shit go still has a point to prove. I had just broken up with Jimmy. So this would have been like December of last year, November of last year. I'd just broken up with Jimmy. And I'd come out of a relationship, and I felt love Jimmy. He's one of my closest friends, but I felt rejected from him. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And you know, like how you start doubting yourself when a guy breaks up with you. I felt like I wasn't good enough and I felt like I wasn't pretty enough. And I felt like how I could heal myself was by having sex with Francois. So I had established at this point that I'm a top, that I feel more comfortable topping guys and not necessarily like bottoming. So me and Francois were talking, and in the last like 6 months of us talking, there was definitely some sexual chemistry going on. Like we would make jokes, but it was still at a friendship base level. So he comes over to my place. He comes over to like where I stayed. You know, the house that had the pool and the dogs. Yes, he was there. He came there. Yes, girl. Now, I'm wearing this stripper dress, like this black one-piece dress that showed my boobs and my ass off. And, you know, I'm just, you know, being sexy as fuck. So he comes over and we're watching Netflix, and, you know, like we're talking, and I sort of see him like, you know, like checking me out. I move in just a little bit closer because he had his arm around me. Girl, do we not start kissing? And the thing is, and this is going to sound stupid, I felt like I had a point to prove because I wanted to prove to myself that I was attractive now. I wanted to prove to myself that I was good enough. And that's such a negative way of looking at not passing. It's such a negative way of looking at it, but hey, it is what it is. Now, my silly ass decided to, there was this like sex supplement, like these, it's kind of like they're almost like hormones, but they go down to your like member. They basically make you very like hella horny. And I had gotten them when I was with Jimmy, but I'd never like used them, you know what I mean? So I was like, let me use them now. In fact, let me finish the whole fucking ass sachet and see what happens, bitch. If I've never been more convinced that I was a top than that moment, yeah. So I take the supplements and we get into the room and we're just kissing, and he thought he was gonna top me, and I'm like, no, bitch. Do you see Penelope here, ready to go, ready for action? I'm topping you. So he was cool with it and whatever. And I want to say, like, the amount of time that you have sex with somebody is not an indication of whether or not the sex is good. But when you can feel his ass cheeks start begging you for mercy, and it's dark outside, that time y'all started having sex at 4 o'clock and it's nighttime now, that's how you know it's good. I flipped him over. I was like, he was like my rag doll. This boy who's like 6 foot something, like he was just going down on me. Like, oh, like I just, you know, like I felt like, I don't want to say it was an angry fuck, but there was some element of that shit you pulled when we went out. This is how you're going to pay for it. It was all of that frustration, all of that sexual frustration and energy. And it was crazy because I'm like hella loud when I have sex. You know, like I feel myself. And it got to this point where like his ass muscles were like twitching inside of me. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to like give him a little bit of a break, you know. I've worked him out. I filled him up to capacity, but I was like, but I still need to not, I need to finish. I'm not gonna be left unfinished. So I'm just like, and I have this thing, you know, like when I'm fucking guys, like, because my star sign is Cancer, there's an element of me that's nurturing, but I want to hurt you in sex, but I still want to nurture you afterwards. So I was kind of like, this is the final lap. Just take it, baby. And yeah, within 30 minutes, I finished off, and I felt accomplished. And I know that's stupid to say, but I felt accomplished. I remember lying there and I was like, wow, I got to fuck you. I got what I wanted, and I proved something to myself. And he was loving it. He came a couple of times. So then we go out and we have dinner, and we're just like talking, and like he came because at this point me and him were friends. Now, in me trying to prove myself, I did not take into consideration his feelings. I didn't take into consideration that he would want to pursue something with me. And, you know, like we still talk, and he's still like, he'll send me messages, and he'll like send me, like, he'll do all of these sweet things. And I think sometimes, well, for me, anyways, I don't know about y'all, maybe you guys are different. Sometimes I go to nightclubs. I don't approach the guys and I expect them to approach me, and I entertain them, not realizing that these are human beings with feelings, not realizing that they're actually really interested in getting to know me, or they're happy that, you know, someone is talking to them. I just go into it thinking like, oh, I want to get attention because I want to fill my ego up, and I don't really think about some of the guys that I make out with. And I've started feeling really guilty about that. I've started feeling guilty about playing with people's emotions. I've started feeling guilty about fucking guys for like 4 hours, and then being all shook when they are blowing my phone up, wanting more. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird one. It's kind of like a weird one. I do like Francois, and maybe things are going to develop. Who knows? I think it might possibly lead in that direction. But what annoyed me about like that evening when we were having sex was, obviously I'm loud. I'm like, but like my moaning is, you know, my voice is fucking high pitched. So when I'm moaning, it's fucking high pitched. My housemates all thought that he was fucking me. The disrespect. The unmitigated gall. How dare you? They thought I was the one being backed up by. And like they were making comments like, wow, Christabel, that guy, like literally, he like ran you through. And I'm like, y'all think I was sitting in the back seat? No, baby. When I bottom, you better finish within an hour. When I top, you better have the whole evening set aside, because I'm about to break that back, and you know I will. Anyways, I just wanted to share that second story. It was hella long. I don't know why I'm talking so much in these videos. I hope you enjoyed the first video, and if you made it to this video and then you made it to the end, thank you so much, girl. You know I love y'all. Anyways, I love you guys. Always practice, you know, like safety. And I don't just mean safe sex. I mean protect your heart, protect your feelings. But most importantly, have fun. I love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Do it all, girl. Do the most. Support your girl. Love you guys. Bye.